I'm going to chat for a few minutes about what we call parent-child contact problems. And those are issues when a kid isn't seeing a parent between separated parents. When most parents think of child-parent contact problems, they think only of parental alienation. That is the deliberate poisoning of a child against the other parent, such that the child unilaterally says, I don't want to see that other parent. Truth is, as social workers, psychologists, mental health professionals, we differentiate between a number of different kinds of parent-child contact problems. And in broad strokes, three kinds. One is parental alienation, where a parent is undermining unilaterally, with no good reason, the relationship of that child with the other parent. They may have reason. It may be spite, anger, holding hostage for some other things in a negotiation, but there isn't truly a legitimate reason for that. The other kinds of contact problems occur when a parent does something that in and of its own causes that child to not want to see that parent. That child may have witnessed that parent being abusive to the other parent, yelling, screaming, pushing, shoving, and worse. Or that parent could have been directly, that's witnessing domestic violence, that other parent could have directly abused the child in any number of ways, such that the child reasonably doesn't want to see that parent. The third contact issue is when a parent has a legitimate reason, such as we just talked about, to withhold that child from the parent. So, a parent may be concerned that if I let my child go to the other parent, they're truly going to be neglected in a way that puts the child at harm, or the parent is going to berate or abuse my child, or be intoxicated, so I have a legitimate reason to withhold the child. Got news for you. These things go to court, and it's difficult to differentiate sometimes between truly parental alienation, parental estrangement, where the child reasonably, on the basis of true life experience, doesn't want to see the other parent, or on the basis of a parent being protective reasonably. These things go to court, and each parent is providing their own point of view. Here's the rub. In some ways, it doesn't matter what's underneath the parent-child contact issues. When a child isn't seeing the other parent, I'm going to give you a frame of reference for understanding that. It's like a social amputation. We all know what a physical amputation is about. The limb is gone. And we know what a hardship that is to the body, to the mind, to the spirit, to adjust to a physical amputation. Well, the truth is, social amputations have consequences as well. So, I'm no longer connected to that person. And let's say that wasn't a good person. I'm no longer connected to the fantasy of that being a good person. I'm no longer connected to at least the fantasy of that person being able to care for me or me for them. I may miss that person. And by the way, it doesn't have to be the parent. It could be or another relative, a grandparent, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle. These are social amputations. With or without cause, there is still that cutoff to the child. The child still has to integrate that social connection really was a part of me. And now that I'm cut off from that part of me, what does that do to me? What does that say about me? If I go out in public and I'm missing a limb, people are going to look, people are going to recognize that. If I enter into another relationship, now I'm, a teenager, an adult, and I'm entering into an intimate relationship, and I say, no, I don't have any connection with these relatives of mine. There's a social amputation. What does that say about me? So, we always want to be careful about disconnecting a child from a relative. We want to be concerned about social amputations. Amputations, they're never a good thing. It may be a better than thing, better to lose my limb than to, have a cancer, better to not see someone if they're truly going to be harmful to me. But for goodness sakes, sometimes we have to make difficult decisions. What is that degree of harm? Okay, so-and-so may be a bit of a bear, but are they truly abusive? They may be a diamond in the rough. A diamond in the rough is different from somebody who's harmful. They may be an acquired taste. You may not like them. But if we're going to do a social amputation on the basis of that, just know that there will be, no matter what, consequences for the child. So before we rush to resolve our concern about the other parent or these relationship things, I just want parents to think about this concept of social amputation and what a social amputation might mean to the child's view of themselves. Am I a good person or a bad person if I can't be part of that person who technically is part of me? Now, I'm not telling anyone what to do here. I'm only giving you another point for consideration, that these issues of contact problems, broadly speaking, 3 different categories. It could be alienation. It could be estrangement. That parent's behavior causes me to not want to see you. Or it could be I'm truly being protective in view of knowing that the child could be at harm with that parent. But for goodness sakes, if it's I just don't like the other parent, think twice about that social amputation. It typically doesn't serve the child in the long run, and often comes home to harm that parent who created the social amputation, harm that parent's relationship with that child come adulthood, and they figure things out. Anyways, this was a long-winded discussion about parent-child contact problems, 3 ways of looking at it, and the concept of a social amputation. I hope this is helpful. I just want your kids to be well. I'm Gary Derenfeld. I'm a social worker. You can check out my services at www.yoursocialworker.com. Bye now.